Nora, it's so fascinating to see who's in that room, try to read their body language, but the room itself is so majestic, which is why it was chosen for this indoor ceremony. The Capitol Rotunda is at the very heart of the Capitol, dead center, underneath the majestic dome. It was
And as we mentioned, this is the introduction of former President Clinton and former First Lady and Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton as they make their way to the Rotunda platform.
It's a great feeling to be introduced coming down that platform. I will tell you that. I'll also mention that President Clinton and Mrs. Clinton were, of course, there 8 years ago. They came to the lunch, the very small 200-person lunch afterwards, and President Trump specifically expressed his gratitude that they were both there and for their service of the country. It's that kind of moment when a lot of things are put aside. Sometimes they're pretty quickly recaptured, but this is a day that's more about democracy than party.
And former President Barack Obama heading to the Rotunda platform, not joined by Michelle Obama. She did not also come to Washington for the funeral of Jimmy Carter, just recently celebrating her birthday.
Presidential.
Here we go. And Brett Kavanaugh, Justice Brett Kavanaugh, will be issuing the oath of office to J.D. Vance. And a reminder that one of these justices, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, put into office by Joe Biden, but 3 of these justices were appointed by and confirmed by the Senate under Donald Trump, and has remarkably changed the landscape of the Supreme Court.
I would just quickly point out, as you see John Ratcliffe there, he is the president-elect's CIA pick. We could see a vote on him as soon, potentially, as today, along with Marco Rubio, the president-elect's pick for Secretary of State. Nora.
Nicole Killian, thank you. That's right. You can see members of the president's proposed cabinet coming in together there. And we are hearing that his nominee for Secretary of State could be voted not only out of committee today, but also out of the full Senate. Pete Hegseth for Defense Secretary, just out of the committee. Not clear that there will be a full vote today in the United States Senate. And as we look at the number of dignitaries and cabinet members, they're being greeted by Susie Wiles, incoming White House Chief of Staff. There are a number of notable supporters of Donald Trump in this room, including lawmakers. Not only Dana White, who's the CEO of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC, but as you can see there, Sundar Pichai, the head of Google, and there you see Vivek Ramaswamy, we mentioned earlier, standing next to Kristi Noem, the governor who is the president's choice to lead the Department of Homeland Security. As you're going to see right now, there's Miriam Adelson, who has donated hundreds of millions of dollars to help elect Donald Trump. Strong supporter of Israel, and she's standing right next to the aforementioned Dana White there. These are all close friends. Melania Trump sitting next to her son, Barron Trump, and her father. And if there's something that's changed in the last 8 years, it's Barron Trump, who has gained a couple feet there. He now stands at 6'7", towering over everyone in the room, now a student at NYU, living in New York City. And it is cramped, you can see there. Yes. Everyone is packed in, as they have put more than 600 people inside the Capitol Rotunda, including many of the lawmakers and dignitaries. Dr. Biden entering with the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff.
The Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, Ms. Emily Leviner. The Senate Secretary for the Minority, the Honorable Gary Myrick. the House of Representatives Chief Administrative Officer, the Honorable Catherine Spindor, and Mr. Bruce Fisher. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Jill Biden and Mr. Douglas Emhoff.
They're the First Lady of the United States, Dr. Biden, who has done so much for military families in her service as First Lady of the United States. Their son, Beau Biden, had served in the National Guard and had served overseas. And they first started the initiative with Michelle Obama, First Lady, and she continued that then as First Lady, making sure that military families receive the attention that they deserve and the support that they need. It's been one of her hallmark issues. And of course, Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman, has done a lot of initiatives to fight anti-Semitism, and that has been at the forefront of his agenda. And you can see he's seated right next to Bill Clinton there.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, the Honorable Joseph R. Biden Jr., and Vice President of the United States, the Honorable Kamala Devi Harris, Tiffany Trump, and Barron Trump.
And we're looking at members of the First Family. And there you have members of the United States Senate, including Senator Cory Booker and Senator Grassley and Senator Tom Cotton.
Well, you see Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, his fiancee, have just arrived, standing next to Mark Zuckerberg and his wife, Priscilla Chan. We haven't heard anything from Priscilla Chan, considering Mark Zuckerberg has made a lot of news lately.
That's right. So what we are seeing, Gail, as you just pointed out, the world's richest men are all here at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. Elon Musk is number one at that, worth over $200 billion. And then Jeff Bezos, around $200 billion, give or take here. Bernard Arnault and others gathered here for this inauguration along with their members of their family. And
Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President-elect of the United States, the Honorable J.D. Vance.
And Robert, a remarkable moment for J.D. Vance, a noted author, who was well regarded by a number of Democrats, who then made his way into the United States Senate and became very close with the Trump family, and now is the future Vice President of the United States.
A remarkable and rapid political ascent for this 40-year-old man from Ohio. Went to Yale Law School, wrote about his tough upbringing in Southern Ohio. Hillbilly Elegy becomes a runaway bestseller, captivates people in the business community across the country. And
Ron Howard makes a movie out of it.
And he's originally a critic of President-elect Trump, but then had a reckoning and became perhaps his biggest ally.
Ceremonies, Elizabeth Farah. House Sergeant-at-Arms, the Honorable William P. McFarland. Senate Sergeant-at-Arms and Doorkeeper, the Honorable Jennifer A. Hemingway. Senate Majority Leader, the Honorable John Thune. And the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies. House Democratic Leader, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries. House Majority Leader, the Honorable Steve Scalise. Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Mike Johnson. Senate Democratic Leader, the Honorable Charles E. Schumer. Ranking Member of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the Honorable Deb Fischer. And Chairwoman of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the Honorable Amy Klobuchar.
The First Lady and the President-elect Donald Trump entering the U.S. Capitol Rotunda.
The U.S. Capitol led to the U.S. presidency. But in a way, as Senator Blunt knows, President Biden has always thought about the Capitol, in a sense, as home.
Wrapping up nearly 5 decades of public service, and a standing ovation there for the President of the United States as the crowd waits.
Escorting the President-elect of the United States, the Honorable Donald John Trump.